guys, my name is Grace, and today, to continue on with our lesson, we're going to make our very own solar system. So the materials you will need is the piece of paper that it has the template for our activity, a pencil, and a pair of scissors. So the very first thing we're going to do is, so first of all, this is a template of the size of the planets. So there are 8 different sections, and each of them represent a different planet. And while they don't exactly look like the planets, this is a demonstration to show their relative size. So the largest chunk, and the chunk we're going to start with, is Jupiter. So this is our largest chunk. It takes about 7/10 of the paper. And Jupiter has the largest chunk because it's the largest planet in our solar system. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our pencil and we're just going to label this chunk Jupiter. And then when we're done with that, all we're going to do is cut along the lines. And we have finished our first part, and we're going to put it to the side. So the next section that we have here is our second biggest chunk, and this is going to represent Saturn. Saturn is the second largest planet in our solar system. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pencil again, and we're just going to label this Saturn. And then when we're done with that, we're just going to take our scissors again, and we're going to cut along the lines. And this takes up about 2/10 of our paper, so this is done. And as we're seeing, we're left with this actually fairly small chunk left. This is about 1/10 of our paper left. This is to show that Jupiter and Saturn are really going to take up most of the mass of the planets in the solar system, and that the rest of these 6 planets are actually relatively small in comparison to those. So our third largest planet is going to be Uranus. So we're going to put this, we're going to take our pencil and we're going to label this section that. And then when we're done with that, we're just going to go along the lines and cut it out again. And there we have our third largest planet. So next we're going to do our fourth largest planet, which is Neptune, which is going to be this chunk right here. So we'll take our pencil again and we're going to label it. Cut along the lines. And there we have our fourth largest planet, Neptune. Also, all of these planets I just said, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, while they're also the largest planets in our solar system, they're also the 4 gas giants. So now we're going to be left with this very, very small piece of paper left. And just so we understand, you know, these 4 planets are just so small in comparison to our big gas giants. So the next planet we're going to label is actually going to be Earth. So Earth and Venus are pretty similar to each other, but Earth is a tiny bit bigger. So Earth gets a little bit more room than Venus does. So we're going to write Earth in this section of the paper, the far left. And we're going to cut along the lines. And that will be Earth. And then our next paper, this kind of chunk, just a little bit smaller than Earth, is going to be Venus. So we're going to take our pencil and we're going to label it Venus. Cut along the lines again. So now we're going to be left with this very, very, very small piece of paper left. It has one tiny section and then a larger section. So the larger section is going to be Mars, which is the 7th largest planet. So the second, actually smallest planet. So we're going to label that Mars. And we're going to take our scissors and cut along the line. And then, so we're done with Mars. And now we're going to be left with this tiny, tiny piece of paper. This is going to be Mercury, which is the smallest planet in our solar system. Just a fraction. If we compare it to Jupiter, I mean, it's a fraction of the size. So really to show just how small Mercury is. So I'm then going to label this Mercury, and it's so small it'd be kind of actually hard to write, but you can just abbreviate if you need to. And we have Mercury all labeled a tiny piece. And so now that you have finished the cutting out part, you have actually finished creating your solar system. And so now you can, be finished, or you can actually put them in different orders. You can put them from closest to the sun to furthest from the sun, and you can find this out by remembering what we did earlier in the lesson. Or you can do it from largest to smallest, or smallest to largest. Also what we just learned, and you'll be able to tell from what we just learned. And that completes our activity. So thank you so much for joining me, and now you have your own solar system. Thank you. Bye.